5 hidden fears driving every dismissive avoidance behavior, and why they're so devastatingly effective at destroying relationships. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's rarely talked about openly: the secret fears that control dismissive avoidant individuals like invisible puppet strings. You've probably experienced a whiplash of dismissive avoidant behavior in relationships. These are the people who text you constantly for weeks, then suddenly take days to reply, who plan romantic getaways but become emotionally absent during intimate moments, who say, "I love you," but flinch when you say it back. Maybe they made you feel like the most important person in their world, then treated you like a stranger when you needed emotional support. Or perhaps they act completely self-sufficient, yet somehow always end up in relationships with people who chase them relentlessly. What's really happening beneath this confusing surface? What fears are secretly orchestrating every single behavior they display? The answers are more revealing, and sometimes more tragic than you might expect. In this video, we're dissecting 5 hidden fears of the dismissive avoidant and exposing exactly how these fears manipulate every interaction they have. This isn't about villainizing anyone or throwing around psychological labels. It's about understanding the invisible forces at play so you can protect your emotional well-being, finally make sense of those puzzling past relationships, or begin healing if you've been trapped in one of these exhausting dynamics. Because once you see the fear behind behavior, their seemingly random actions suddenly form a clear, predictable pattern. The first hidden fear is a terror of emotional engulfment, and this drives their most maddening behavior. The classic push-pull dynamic that leaves you feeling like you're dating Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. A dismissive avoidant will pursue you intensely when they feel emotionally safe, sending good morning texts, planning dates, being affectionate. But the exact moment you reciprocate with genuine emotion or attempt to deepen the connection, they slam on the brakes and reverse direction. It's like they're terrified of being consumed by your feelings or absorbed into the relationship itself. This fear usually starts in childhood when they had a parent who was emotionally overwhelming. Perhaps a mother who used her child as her emotional therapist, or a father who demanded constant attention and validation. As adults, when you share that you're falling for them, their brain doesn't register love. It registers threat. When you ask for reassurance during a difficult time, they don't hear support. They hear demands that will drain them. The triggers are remarkably consistent. You stop playing it cool and express genuine vulnerability. You ask them to be your +1 to a family wedding. You have an emotional breakdown and need their comfort. Suddenly, they become ice cold, pick fights over trivial matters, or find urgent reasons to create distance. They're not trying to hurt you on purpose. They're trying to save themselves from what feels like emotional drowning. But the impact on you is crushing because you're left wondering what you did wrong when all you did was care. Moving from this fear of being consumed, we encounter an equally destructive pattern. The second hidden fear is a terror of being truly seen, and this creates those impenetrable emotional walls that make you feel like you're in a relationship with a beautifully crafted mannequin, attractive on the surface, but hollow underneath. Dismissive avoidants are masters at keeping relationships surface level because deep down, they're convinced that if you really knew them, their insecurities, their failures, their deepest thoughts, you'd either reject them or use their vulnerabilities against them. You'll notice this when they enthusiastically discuss their career achievements or travel experiences. But ask them what they're genuinely afraid of or what made them cry last week, and you'll hit an invisible wall. They'll deflect with humor, change the subject, or give you generic answers that reveal nothing real. Watch for these specific behaviors. They never cry in front of you, even during emotional movies. They don't share childhood stories involving pain. They become uncomfortable when you share vulnerabilities because it creates pressure for reciprocal intimacy. When you start seeing through their carefully constructed persona, or when they accidentally let something genuine slip out, they panic. Maybe they mentioned feeling insecure about their relationship with their father, or you caught them looking sad when they thought you weren't watching. Suddenly, they become more guarded or create conflict to distract from the vulnerability. The result? You end up feeling like you're in love with a ghost, someone who's physically present but emotionally unreachable. This fear of exposure connects directly to another paradoxical terror. The third hidden fear is a fear of abandonment disguised as fierce independence. And this one is particularly sneaky. because it masquerades as strength while actually stemming from profound terror. Dismissive avoidants will often wear their independence like armor, proudly declaring they don't need anyone, that they're perfectly fine alone. But underneath this fortress of self-sufficiency is someone who's absolutely terrified of being left behind. So they've developed the ultimate protection strategy, leaving first before anyone can abandon them. This usually develops when they experience abandonment early in life, either physical or emotional. The child's brain learned that depending on people leads to pain, so the safest strategy is to not depend on anyone at all. Here's how this shows up. They'll end promising relationships right when things are getting serious, often right after you've had the "where is this going" conversation. They'll sabotage beautiful moments by picking fights or break up with you via text after months of dating, claiming they need space. The triggers are painfully predictable. You start talking about introducing them to your family. You mention wanting to spend holidays together. You express that you're falling in love. Any sign that you're getting attached sends them into panic mode. Their brain starts generating reasons why you're incompatible, magnifying minor issues into relationship-ending problems. The impact is soul-crushing because you're left feeling like you weren't good enough, when the truth is you might have been too good, too safe, too real for them to handle. This abandonment terror feeds directly into another crushing fear. The fourth hidden fear is a belief that they're fundamentally not enough, and this drives their exhausting perfectionism and emotional withdrawal just when you need them most. Dismissive avoidants often present themselves as having everything figured out: successful careers, impressive achievements, enviable lifestyles. But deep down they're carrying this soul-crushing belief that they're fundamentally flawed or inadequate. This fear makes them work overtime to prove their worth, while simultaneously pulling away from anyone who might discover they're not as perfect as they seem. You'll see this when they become workaholics who can't enjoy their success, perfectionists who redo projects multiple times, or when they can't accept compliments without deflecting. In relationships, they'll try to be the perfect partner initially, but this performance is exhausting and unsustainable. The triggers are painfully specific. They make any kind of mistake in front of you: spilling wine, getting lost while driving, saying something awkward. You see them in genuine weakness, crying, anxious, overwhelmed. You offer support during difficult times, forcing them to acknowledge they're not invincible. When this fear gets triggered, they withdraw emotionally and sometimes physically. The devastating impact is that you're left feeling shut out precisely when they need you most. You want to support them, but they won't let you in because they're convinced that if you see their imperfections, you'll confirm their worst fear: that they really aren't enough. This fear of inadequacy leads us to the final and perhaps most controlling fear. The fifth hidden fear is a terror of losing control, and this drives their need to dominate every emotional dynamic in the relationship, turning love into a power struggle where intimacy becomes the enemy. Dismissive avoidants feel safest when they're the ones setting the pace, deciding how close you get, and controlling the emotional temperature of the relationship. They're terrified of being at the mercy of someone else's feelings or decisions because it reminds them of times when they felt powerless and vulnerable. You'll notice this when they always want to be the one deciding when you see each other, how often you talk, and how deep conversations go. They'll pull back if you start initiating too much contact or expressing strong emotions. They hate feeling like they need you more than you need them, so they'll create distance to restore the balance of power. They might withhold affection when you're going through something difficult, become emotionally unavailable during your important moments, or refuse to make future plans because commitment means giving up control. The triggers are consistent. You stop playing by their unspoken rules about emotional expression. You start setting boundaries about how they treat you. You express needs or expectations. When triggered, they panic because suddenly they can't control your reactions or the relationship's direction. The impact is that you end up walking on eggshells, constantly monitoring your emotions to avoid triggering their control issues. So what can we take away from all this? Dismissive avoidants aren't broken or evil. Their behaviors are protective patterns built around deep-seated fears from early emotional injuries. But they can be deeply hurtful to partners seeking real intimacy. If you're with someone like this, remember you can't love them past their fears. You can understand them, have compassion, but their healing is their responsibility. Set clear boundaries about what behavior you'll accept. Don't chase them when they pull away. It only confirms their fears about engulfment. And if you recognize yourself in these patterns, know this: you're not alone. Awareness is a first step. Consider working with a therapist who understands attachment styles. Practice staying present when vulnerability arises instead of running. Start small. Share one genuine feeling with someone safe. Relationships don't have to be battlefields between fear and love. They can be spaces of healing and authentic connection. Have you recognized any of these fear patterns in your own relationships, either as the dismissive avoidant or as their partner? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story could be the lifeline someone else needs to feel less alone in their journey toward healthier love.